Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So today we are not in the studio. Once again, we are in my bedroom and I'm sitting right in front of my everyday vanity. So if you've been part of the fam for a while, and you probably have heard me say once or twice when I really love a product that I'm going to be putting it in my everyday vanity, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to be showing you guys all the products that I use on an everyday basis. They are all my absolute favorites. They're my tried and true. They're the ones that I really do reach for the most. Now there's no doubt that the products in here change up all the time. I mean, I'm constantly bringing in and taking out products, but this has been my setup for the last little bit. I actually just completely reorganized this. I would love if you guys could let me know down below in the comments what are some of your like go-to top drawer, I need to have these every single day or else I will die products. Click that subscribe and notification bell if you'd like to be part of the fam and you're not already. Would love for you to join. Let's get right into it. First of all, if you want like a more of an in-depth view of what my vanity looks like, I did do a little bit more of like a tour in the first video that I filmed. I'm not going to do it again just because I don't want it to be repetitive, so I will link that down below if you want to check it out. I will say that my organizer over here is from Cosmocube. I get that question all the time. It's been holding up really nicely and I'm still enjoying it. So let's first start off with the bottom drawer. This is where I like to keep all of my complexion products. So my concealers, foundations, primers, and powders. So first starting off with my foundations. Now the first foundation, I mean, you could probably guess it if you've been around on my channel. And if you did get it right, let me know in the comments. I really want to know how predictable I am. So that foundation is the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. I actually have two of them in here, one in light, one in fair. This is definitely my all-time favorite everyday foundation. It gives me the most perfect amount of coverage. It's like a solid medium coverage, but it feels so lightweight on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. And it also just gives my very dry skin a very pretty and dewy glow. I recommend this stuff to everybody. Next is Matte Face and Body. I actually just spoke about this foundation in the last video I did where I talk about my current favorite products, but this has actually been my go-to foundation as of late. I really do love the way that this foundation just sits on my skin. It's a very light coverage and it really just does disappear onto the skin. It doesn't look heavy or cakey. Next, we've got the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Sticks. This is probably one of my favorite stick foundations. I feel like it's another one of those foundations that just looks so natural on the skin, even if you build it up to be quite a high coverage. I also have two shades in here. I have 123 and 120. I also have the Liquid Ultra HD. It's the foundation that I like to use when I use my self tanner. It looks amazing in photographs and I do also really like this for events. This is the Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint. I actually find that this is very comparable to the IT Cosmetics CC, so it's no wonder that I like this stuff so much as well. I actually just found this little sample of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter foundation in the shade Shortbread, and I have been getting a lot of questions about this foundation, whether or not I like it, and I gotta say, I don't really like it. This is a very full coverage, very thick foundation, and I find that it just makes my skin look 20 years older. I don't think it's very flattering on me in particular, especially since I do have a drier skin type. I don't really think it's meant for me. So I don't really like it, and I'm sort of happy that I only got a sample and didn't buy the full-size product because it's not my fave. The last foundation that I have in here, and also the one that I'm wearing on my skin right now, is my Fenty Beauty foundation. A lot of you guys have been wondering whether or not I still like this. I did do a first impression on a bunch of Fenty products in a recent video, and it's safe to say that I do still really love this stuff. I always make sure to use more of a hydrating primer underneath it though, because otherwise it could look a little bit dry, but I do really like this for filming, for events, when I want a little bit more of like a fuller coverage. So next, moving on to primers. Literally all of the primers that I have in my everyday collection are all of those very hydrating or glowy primers. I don't really have any silicone based primers just because those don't typically work for my skin. So if you're looking for a really nice hydrating glowy primer, these all fit the bill. One that I actually very recently just popped into my everyday vanity. I totally forgot about this stuff. So this is the Bobbi Brown Illuminating Moisture Balm. You guys actually recommended it to me in my subscribers, like testing my subscribers' favorite makeup video. Hello Fab First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. This is probably one of my go-to primers, not necessarily for longevity, but it just works really well for making my foundation just sit really nicely on my skin. It just hydrates it and it works with every single foundation that I pair it with. Similar to that product is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. This is basically a primer and moisturizer in one. This one is a little bit more liquidy, so the texture isn't exactly the same, but it does basically the exact same thing. This Josie Maran Argan Finishing Balm is a little bit more luxurious when you put it on. It's more of like a thicker cream cream. And then I have the Tata Harper Illuminating Moisturizer with Diamond Radiance. This is not so much a primer. This is more of just like a moisturizer, but I use it before my foundation. So that's why it's in like the primer category for me. I also have 2 of these oils in my collection. I love using these when my skin is feeling especially dry. These are always my go-tos. I also find that it makes a more matte and thicker foundation just blend out so much easier on the skin. And it also just makes the foundation a little bit more glowy, dewy, and natural looking. One of my all-time favorites is the Hourglass No. 28 Primer Serum. I'm wearing it on my face today, and it's what I love to combine with the Fenty Beauty Foundation. I find it's sort of like a match made in heaven. I also have the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Skin Booster in here. This is another great oil. The last primer that I have that I also use as like a liquid highlighter is my MAC Strobe Cream, and this one is in the shade Gold Light. So next, let's move on to some concealers. First things first, let's get this out of the way because I have 3 of them. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. I mean, must I say more? If you're wondering, by the way, the shades that I have in my collection are Light Neutral, Light Sand, and Light Medium. Currently, I'm using Light Neutral. Now, a concealer that I've been testing out a lot recently that I've been really enjoying is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. I actually find this to be slightly comparable to the Tarte Shape Tape. It's not quite as thick as the Tarte Shape Tape, but I feel like it has like a very similar amount of coverage. So next, this is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer. This has been a concealer that I've been mentioning on my channel for a very long time. This is what I like to wear on like my lighter makeup days. It looks so just light and natural looking. Because it is like a serum concealer, I find that it almost makes my under eyes look really hydrated. I also have the Sephora Make No Mistake High Coverage Concealer and the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I'm putting these in like one little category because I find them to be incredibly comparable, almost honestly exactly the same, dare I say. They are both very, very thick, very full coverage. Like you need a pea-size amount for both of them in order to cover both of your under eyes. They are like the most intense concealers that I have in my collection. This next one brings a lot of sadness to my heart. This is the Tom Ford Concealing Pen, probably one of my most favorite like everyday type of concealers because it gives just the perfect amount of coverage. It is so lightweight. It doesn't look heavy at all, and it's like that perfect concealer when you're not wearing any other makeup because it won't look crazy and stark underneath your eyes, and they discontinued it. Now they came back with the concealer pen, but it's a different formula. And apparently it's not as good. I barely use this stuff anymore because I'm like conserving it. I don't want it to run out and then I'll never have it ever again. And it's just the worst. So that's my Tom Ford Concealing Pen. R.I.P. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about some of my favorite powders that I always have to keep in my collection. The Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in the shade One Fair. This is my favorite powder to set underneath my eyes, to set my face. I really just find that this sets my makeup in place, but it disappears. That's sort of a common theme that you're gonna see with the powders that I have in my like everyday collection. Very similar powders to the Charlotte Tilbury one. I also have my Lila B Be Natural Flawless Finish Foundation Powder, an oldie but a goodie. I've got my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Medium. It has like a similar type of look on the skin, which is why I really like it, and I keep it in my collection for that reason. So if I ever wanna like bake or set my under eyes with a loose powder, these are the 2 powders that I always like to go to. I have my Cover FX Illuminating Setting Powder and also my RCMA No Color Powder. These are both my go-tos. Hey guys, future Jamie here. Past Jamie messed up a little bit and didn't record the sound right at this exact moment. So I am here to save the day. Future Jamie to the rescue. I believe we were just about to begin the tour of my blush, bronzer, highlighter drawer. So I'm just gonna get started, yeah? Okay, let's do this. So first starting off with probably the smallest collection in this whole entire vanity, and that is my highlighters. Now the reason why I don't have a ton of highlighters in my everyday vanity is because on a day-to-day basis, I typically like to go for the same type of look. I don't love a super intense highlighter. So because of that, I sort of just switch out between like 2 or 3 different highlighters to play with, and I try not to overload the options as I do with everything else in my collection. This is the Glossier Halo Scope in the shade Quartz. This is a beautiful, very natural looking highlighter. It sort of just gives the skin more of a glossy look. It's definitely not like blinding, but it just makes you look like you have a nice healthy glow. The second highlighter is this Cover FX powder highlighter in the shade Moonlight. What I really love about this highlighter is that I could build it up to be really intense if I wanted to, but it will never look unflattering or too metallic on the skin. It will just give you a very, very intense glow, and I can also tone it down for every day if I just want something a little bit more subtle. The last highlighter that I have in my collection isn't necessarily a highlighter that I'm like absolutely in love with. It's purely in here because I'm testing it out. It's a newer product from NARS, and this is the highlighter in the shade Double Take. What I like most about this product, honestly, is the packaging. I love the lips that are engraved in the powder. I think it makes it really, really cool, but overall, it's a really pretty, just soft gold highlighter. Okay, a stark contrast to my highlighter collection is my blush collection. I have quite a few blushes in my everyday vanity because I like me some options. Starting off first, my Makeup Forever blush palettes. I love these to death. Makeup Forever basically just came out with a ton new blush shades, contour shades, powder shades that you could put in customized palettes. So if I know I want like more of a coral blush, I could always just grab my coral blush palette. And I also have one that has more muted like mauvey pink tones. And my last one is more of like a cool toned pink trio. I have developed a deep, deep love for orange blushes. In past Jamie's look, I was actually wearing an orange blush. It was this one in particular. They're just really fun blush shades to wear, and I find them to actually be weirdly flattering. This one over here is the Sephora Collection Hot Flush. It's a little bit brighter. And then I've got MAC Modern Mandarin, which is a little bit softer, a little bit more coral and wearable if you want something that's not quite as intense as this. Very different from those orange blushes. I've got my two Tarte blushes. These are like my go-to neutral blushes. When I have either like a really intense eye or really tense lip and I'm not too sure what I want to put on my face, these are either one of the two blushes that I like to go for. First one over here is Sensual. This has been a long time favorite. I've spoken about it on my channel so many times. It's just a really great neutral nude blush. This will go with all of your looks and it won't clash or compete with anything else that's going on your face. And then I've got Risque, which is just a really pretty soft pink, perfect go-to everyday blush. Another one of my favorite neutral blushes that I always keep with me is my Essence Satin Touch blush in the shade Satin Coral. If you are looking for an incredible, and like I mean incredible, matte blush from the drugstore, please look no further. This is, I think, around $3. You could probably even get it for less than that if you have coupons. Formula for this blush is sort of mind-blowing. It is so smooth and buttery, blends beautifully on the cheeks. It is just everything you would want a blush to be, and I love this shade so much. Again, it goes with so many different looks. I also like to keep my two Marc Jacobs blushes in my collection because they are some of my all-time favorite blushes. So this one over here is called Obsessed, and it's just like a soft coral, but what I love so much about this is that it does have like a really intense glow to it. And then over here is my Air blush in the shade Lines and Last Night, another coral blush. Obviously, you could probably tell that I love a good coral blush. Lastly, I have my cream and liquid blushes. I've got my two Glossier Cloud Paints. The pink one is in the shade Puff and the coral one is in the shade Dusk. They're just really easy to work with. They're not finicky at all. They blend out into the skin as they should, and they're also just really pretty colors. And then I have a Nude Stick Nudies in the shade Bareback. This is just a really pretty like dusty soft pink. Another really great cream blush option. Again, if you're looking for something that's just easy to work with, the Nudies from Nude Sticks are fantastic. Easy shade to wear that works on the lips, cheeks, and also the eyes. All right, so now let's talk about some bronzers. So probably my all-time favorite bronzer that I have in my collection and just in general is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Omega bronzer. And this makes me so upset because this was limited edition. I don't know if it's ever going to come back, and I use this stuff almost every single day, and I'm sort of happy that I have not hit pan yet. It's almost a miracle the amount of times that I just pile this on my face. I don't know how I have not hit pan, but I'm actually pretty excited because I did find a fairly similar-ish type of product. This is the Lila B Sunkiss Bronze Beauty Powder. Now, this is definitely not like the exact same type of product. As you can see, this is like a little duo, and this is just one solid powder. But I do find that when you mix both of these shades together, it comes up to a pretty similar color to the Marc Jacobs Tantastic. The only difference is that the Lila B powder does have a little bit of a glow, but I thought that was pretty exciting. And I love this stuff, by the way. I've been talking about it so much lately. Another one of my more recent finds is this Bobbi Brown bronzer in the shade Golden Light, and it is such a pretty shade. I don't really have a bronzer that looks a lot like this. It is very yellow based, which I actually find to be pretty flattering. I've got Hula from Benefit. This is an oldie but a goodie. I always have to have this in my collection. Next, this is Becca Sunlit Bronzer in the shade Capri Coast. You guys recommended this to me in my testing subscribers' favorite makeup video, I believe. This is one of my favorite, more glowy bronzers. It has a bit of like a sheen and even a little bit of shimmer to it. As far as contour products go, I actually only have two in my everyday collection. The first one is my Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder in the shade Medium. This is like the really old packaging. It is so destroyed. The mirror has fallen out. The brush has gone missing, but this is one of my favorite go-tos because it is just the perfect shade. It actually looks like a shadow on the face, but it's also not too cool tone that it makes your skin look ashy. And then for my cream contour, I have my Fenty Matchstick in the shade Amber, similar to the Kevyn Aucoin powder. The reason why I like this is because the shade is just so perfect. It's that great cool tone color that just works so well as a contour shade. Lastly, I have my two favorite cream bronzers. I talk about these all the time. You guys are definitely no strangers to these. I love a good cream bronzer, especially for everyday, because I find that it just gives the skin a really natural looking bronze look. So the first one is my Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in the shade Baked. And then my second favorite is Nude Sticks Bondi Bay. So that is it for the second drawer. My job here is done. I'm gonna bring it back to the other Jamie that you're watching before this. Future Jamie out. All right, so we are done with the second drawer. I like to keep it pretty minimal in the eye product department since on an everyday basis, I don't really do anything too crazy. Either I'm not wearing any eye makeup at all, or I'll do something a little bit more neutral, so I know not to put like super crazy eyeshadow palettes in here because it would just be a waste of space. So the first eyeshadow palette, the Tarte Clay Play. I've spoken about this so much over the last little bit. This has been my go-to just neutral palette. I use it all the time, almost every single day. Currently, I also have my Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. These are like the little mini eyeshadow palettes that she just came out with. This one is the warm one and this one is the mauve one. And the last eyeshadow palette that I have in here is one of my all-time favorites. This is my Tarte Tartelette in Bloom. Need I say more? It really does have everything that I need in here. I could not recommend this stuff more. Also smells so nice. Next, I have actually quite a few single eyeshadows. I have all of my Natasha Denona Crystal Top Coats. These are like my new favorite thing to wear on an everyday basis. It's like such an easy thing just to pop on the lid and it really gives the lids a very beautiful effect. They're sheer top coats, so you can either put them on by themselves or you can layer it on top of a shadow and it just makes your lids look shimmery and sparkly and glossy. Lastly, I have a bunch of ColourPop eyeshadows. I will put like a little product shot to show you guys what each one is. A lot of them are very, very sparkly and shimmery and they make very beautiful lid shades. So that's what I'm talking about. I have so many different types of like sparkly and pretty lid shades, and then I have my more neutral palettes, so I'm able to sort of mix and match them to create different eye looks. For the next drawer, this is a little bit more boring. I'm gonna go through it a little bit quicker. So in this drawer, I've got a lot of like basics. I have my lip balms because I always have to apply a lip balm before I start doing my makeup. Otherwise, it just does not feel right. It's my shimmery top coats that I love to use in order to give my eyes a bit more of like a sparkly effect. I keep all of my favorites in here as well. Some of my MAC paint pots in Soft Ochre, which is a great primer shade. And I also have the shade Indian Wood, which is a beautiful bronze shade. This is my current favorite Lush lip scrub. This is in the flavor chocolate. Now the products that are sitting up here really do change up all the time, just like my mascaras, my eyeliners, my brow products, and then some lip products. I have like lip liners, lip glosses, some of my most used lipsticks. So again, I will put them all in product shots so you guys can see what they look like. They're all pretty like simple and standard products. And then as far as what's up here, I keep like my big makeup remover. This is my Bioderma makeup remover, which I like to just always have on hand in case I make any makeup mistakes. Neutrogena makeup wipes, which I go through like crazy. My two go-to setting sprays, my MAC Fix Plus and my Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray, and my brush cleaner. And that's it. So guys, that finishes off today's video. That is everything that is in my makeup vanity. I really hope that you found it helpful, entertaining, interesting to see, all of the above. Let me know down below all of your thoughts. Of course, give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.